I will be playing the glorious municipalities of Tetra, united by strength, bolstered by valor.
The United Chakra Republic, or the UCR.
The Republic of Umbra.
The Splendor Soli.
The family.
All of us have created factions, but we've all done this in isolation. I want to understand how they've interacted over time.
I want to say, yes, necromancy.
And I'm gonna put in mechs.
Is it a light event or a dark event?
Good question.
It's a piece of paper. It's not gonna stop people at the border from killing each other. Just keep smiling. That's all these things are about. It makes the people happy.
Really? Weird. I didn't see you smile at all. Maybe you should be more worried about keeping your people happy.
You have parked your civilization in our orbit, and we immediately put an enormous animal up there right beside yours. Let's reassure each other that neither of these were declarations of war.
I would say there is a tendency for a lot of the robots to Cain enable themselves.
But the bishops have come to their decision, and it's not even a new decision, it's just clarifying what's always been true. There's still a place for technology, and it's...
What place is that? What am I to you, then? So that's it? I'm just not here anymore? Was I ever here?
Hello, and welcome to the Storyplayers podcast. I'm Birdie. I am your host, but not your GM, because today we're going to finish up our game of Microscope. I am joined today by my friends Maiden.
Hi.
Mariana.
Hi.
Pax.
That's me.
And Molly.
Hi!
Alright, we are running on a little bit of a time crunch today. Pax has a hard out, so let's just jump right into it. Our Microscope game is called the Chronicles of the Galactic War. Last time we played, we had a hell of a time figuring out how all of our factions have interacted throughout history, and we have a timeline sitting in front of us. I would love if we could just start by going through it to remind ourselves and the listeners what actually happened last time. It's been a while for us. So if we could go around and just read one period each. I can start with our first one. Strange visitors enter the galaxy space, and if I remember correctly, those strange visitors were the Chakra. Does that sound right?
Yes, I think so.
And the events, a dark event, first contact causes Umbra to separate from Tetra. Light event, the Splendor Soli falls into orbit around Azum. Successful launch of the Vishtio superorganism in higher orbit above Azum. And finally, the Splendor Soli and the people of Azum sign a non-aggression treaty.
It's Ausum.
Ausum. Thank you.
Our second period is alliances between factions are created. The events in that are, for the first time since the Schism, Tetra and Umbra sign a peace treaty, and we had a minor scene where we saw how people reacted to the peace treaty. And then the next event was Ferrum, a citizen of the Splendor Soli, converts to the faith of the family.
So the period is a scientific discovery, new type of energy discovered in space. And then we have an event. The planets of the galaxy negotiate interplanetary travel using the energy source. Then we have another event. And fueled by the new technology, the municipalities of Tetra launch a devastating attack on the
The Chakra Republic.
Great Republic. Yeah, I know how to read. And then we had a scene on that event, and how is the attack justified by Tetra?
This one is old, dark periods and events, so that's really fun. The period is Auzum becomes closed to all non-Chakur. The next event is non-Chakur are relocated. The next event is family issues and edict. In gratitude for the universe's gracious divisions, condemning both the idea of robot sentience and biological technology, pitting the family against both the Chakurt and the Splendor Soli, and we did a little scene of that, of how does Faramine, the child of Faram, react to the edict cutting them off from the family.
And as of right now, our final period is a dark one, which is the alliances crumble, bringing conflict back to the stars. And we've had 2 events so far in that period. The dark one is the Tetran Palace is burned to the ground in revolutionary uprisings, and a light one is that the Splendor Soli cuts off planetary contact.
Okay, so we have the 5, those were our 5 things. We have 5 players. That worked out pretty perfectly.
Yeah.
And now that we have finished, we also created a legacy at the end. The legacy we created is the question of robotic personhood. That's something that will continue to be an issue throughout history. So from there, we're going to start again with a new lens.
Remind me again what a lens does. I'm so sorry, my brain is a bit foggy.
No worries, no worries. So, the lens is the person that basically chooses the focus for the entire round. So I was the first lens, and I wanted to talk about treaties and alliances. So that's kind of why all of these have to do with treaties and alliances. The game suggests, like, lenses be more focused, so don't, they can be as specific as, like, a single person, maybe a little broader than that, but just, like, what you're interested in us exploring this time. The lens also gets 2 turns, the first and last.
Oh, boy.
I don't mind being the lens. I think we still need to construct more things, and that's basically what I want my lens to be. I want it to be basically constructions, new buildings, or space stations, or ways to travel between our factions. I know it's been kind of a focus of mine, but I feel like if we want to, like, destroy something.
You being the lens is exactly the time to make us all care about the thing you've been focused on.
Perfect.
I think that's fun, too.
It's just, if we're gonna destroy things, I think we need to construct them first. So maybe
Okay.
That's fair.
maybe we can start with that. So yeah, my lens.
So the focus is building new things.
Yeah, constructions, new buildings, space stations, transportation, anything that helps us create a thing. I think wait. Pause. Give me a second.
That's okay. I thought, when you said pause, I thought you said mouse. Like, I thought there was a mouse in your house, and I...
Also, for some reason there was a helicopter outside, so that's a new interruption. It's literally the vehicle bingo, which is really funny on the construction episode. We need to build each one of these things.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm gonna establish such a great high-speed rail network in Tetra.
Amazing.
What? So they could burn it down?
Yes.
It will always...
Okay.
I was about to say it's gonna always be on time. That's no. Oh, God. I did a dog whistle. Yeah, it's not the wrong dog whistle.
Okay. I changed my mind. The period is actually when the alliances between the factions are created. My event is going to be once Umbra start constructing more of a city, more of expanding. They start expanding the nation. They discover a type of nature that seems very aggressive to the way,
Ah.
yes,
Oh.
we are introducing the moth. It's happening.
So is this before or after the peace treaty?
I think it's between the peace treaty when they decide to expand. It's when the expansion starts, it's when the problem starts. I think.
I'm just trying to pinpoint where in the timeline to add this. Because we have the event for the first time since the Schism, Tetra and Umbra sign a peace treaty, and then the next event is Farum converting to the family.
No, I think it's immediately like when the alliance between factions are created and things are starting to look up a little bit, like in this slide period, they start expanding, and that's when the discovery of this mosque is.
Yes, I understand now. To clarify, the title period is not a specific event. That is like something that's kind of the theme of.
Yes.
Yes. So that's what confused me, but I understand now. So is this a dark or a light event?
A dark event.
How should I write this down?
Umbra start expanding the nation and make the discovery of a new type of organism.
Aggressive
organism. Yes.
You said that earlier and I'm...
Yes.
What a way to describe moss. Alright.
It's standing there threateningly.
You know, seeing these two next to each other, I can really see a cause and effect here. We can't be fighting the natural world and our enemies at the same time.
Yes, thank you for noticing. That's what I made the change to like fear. I was like, wait a second. Let's paint a picture. Shit is happening. Let's make peace.
Alright, so do you want to nest a scene in there, or do you want to move on?
I think I'm fine. I think I will move on for now. I will let you guys continue. Thank you.
Pax, you're up next.
Hi. I want to do something so self-indulgent.
Good.
I'm gonna create an event under a new type of energy is discovered in space.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the Splendor Solie creates how do I say this? They create like specifically repairal mechs that like they use for like repairs outside the spaceship. That is what they are used for. They are not like armor or like combat mechs. They are specifically maintenance mechs.
Fuck yes. Thank you. I put mechs on the palette, but you put them in the game, baby.
Yeah, so I'll write that down. I'm saying it's a light thing because I think...
Yeah, mechs are fucking cool.
I'm gonna call them maintenance mechs.
Yes. Oh man, I have thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead. Play off that. I'm ready for anything. That's my turn. I'm happy with that.
Molly.
Okay. I think I am going to add an event in between Umbra finding the aggressive organism and the peace treaty. And it is the family enters airspace around Ausum and sends down their first recruiting team. And this is a dark event.
As almost all missions are.
I would love to see you nest a scene in there.
Mm-hmm. Can you remind me how scenes run in Microscope?
Yes, I can. Yes. Making a played scene. Step 1 is state the question. Step 2 is set the stage. What do we already know from the history? Where is the scene physically taking place? What is going on? Step 3, choose characters. List banned and required characters, maximum 2 each. Anybody that wants to pick a character. Step 4, reveal thoughts, where every character reveals kind of what their hidden thoughts are. And then roleplay until we answer the question of the scene. Once the question is answered, the scene is over.
Okay. Well, then I think the question of the scene is, how do Tetra and Umbra react to new people coming into their territory? And I think, as far as characters go, we have to have at least one representative of the family, who at this stage of history would be a human, or humanish. Human plus.
Human, with, like, the tildes around it.
So, facts of the family at this point is they are just kind of bopping around the galaxy in their little spaceships after they fled Earth several generations ago at this point. And they want to establish friendly contact with everyone on Ausum.
To clarify, Ausum is the Chkurg
Oh.
planet.
Yes, Ausum is the Chkurg planet with the robot space station. I don't know if there is a name for the Umbra Tetra planet.
We
Oh.
named
We name it?
earlier today.
Yay!
So, Umbra and Tetra are both fish, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're not fish people, but they are the names of fish.
This is true. This is the fact.
So, Mariana, would you like to share the beautiful name
Oh yeah,
that you came up with for us?
the name that we made, the name.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes, we named it
is Talashi from Thalassa,
Thalassa, which
from the Greek.
Thalassa.
Aw.
Greek for sea,
There you go.
because there's lots of fish in the sea.
Love
You're
it.
welcome.
Love it.
Thank you.
Alright. Sorry, we just had to indulge in our stupid pun for a minute there.
Very good.
Okay, then I was actually meaning that the family entered Talassi's airspace and was sending down messengers to Tetra and Umbra there.
Perfect.
Yes. So, question of the scene is, how do Tetra and Umbra react to a mission trip?
What characters from Tetra and Umbra would you like to see? Because you named the family's representative, but
Mhm.
you do have fiat control over all of us.
Yes, we are on your hands.
I would like to meet the most normal people from both Tetra and Umbra.
Incredible.
Just
Random citizens.
random citizens.
Why are we together?
My little...
You could also just say that you're only meeting with one of us. That's fine too.
That's true. I think my little exploration pod landed on a section of the border, so I'm meeting with one side's border guard and another side's random dude who was just near the border for
Okay, so it's random citizen and a border guard.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming the border guard is Tetra, but...
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Alright.
I will snatch the random citizen from Umbra, if that's alright with everybody.
I guess I'm the Tetran border guard. Continuing my streak of playing really shitty people. could have seen this one coming, huh? Made the shitty people faction.
Alright, so I have crash landed next to a border crossing, and I stumble out of my little escape pod spaceship.
I think I have been probably hassling Mariana's character.
Yes.
Yeah. Just like trying to figure out what you're doing here. And then as soon as a spaceship crashes, I immediately am Oh, wait, first thoughts. My first thoughts are, man, this was supposed to be a quiet section. Why are there so many randos here? I guess it makes the day a little less boring.
May I intervene?
What are your secret thoughts?
I think my secret, not so secret thought, because my character being screaming at it, is there's something very weird happening in the forest. I need some help. I don't care that you are basically my enemy. You need to check this out. That thing is blue. And it's very bright. I need you to come with
blue.
me right now.
Lots of things are blue.
That's what the scene is happening. I feel like they're starting before the pot fall basically in front of us.
Don't you have your own military? I need to stay here.
Yes, but this is an emergency. You have to. This is weird. This is
lots of things are blue.
No, you don't understand. You don't understand. This is. You need to see this.
I'm sure.
Hello, friends?
Oh my god!
What are your secret thoughts?
Oh, my secret thoughts are, I sure hope this crash landing strategy works, because if it doesn't, I just wrecked a ship for no reason.
Immediately pulls a gun on you.
No. Whoa, what is happening, everybody? Oh my god.
Excuse me. Identify yourself immediately.
Hi. I am, Lorelka of the ship Charity, a member of the family. What's your name?
None of those words mean absolutely anything to me, ma'am.
To me neither. There's?
You
okay.
Are on the sovereign territory of the glorious municipalities of Tetra.
Oh, wait.
And I need you to state your business.
We are in the middle. This is also the Republic of Umbra.
Not the time. Not the time. You are on thin ice. Is this points the gun at you. Is this something to do with your moss?
I have never seen this person in my life before. The moss, very important. Is eating my house? Are you sure you cannot?
Is it blue?
Yes.
Is it extremely blue?
Yes.
Points a gun at you.
The universe has led me here.
What does that mean?
So, and I turn to the Umbra character. What's your name?
I'm Jasper. I want you all to know that his hands are up all this time. That gun, not great.
Jasper, may I try something? And I just kind of reach towards your head and pull you into a forehead to forehead, or as close to forehead as I can figure out with your body configuration. And I just kind of send my psychic energy into your brain.
I'm really not sure who to point my gun at right now.
I think... Oh, wow, what do I see?
You, at first it's just kind of, like, you get a really nasty headache, and then suddenly you see all the connections between everything. And then I pull back before it gets, like, really weird, but you definitely saw the universe.
Oh my god. I think
Uh,
Jasper
I'm
just...
gonna need you to step back.
Who are you? How did you... What did you think?
I'm part of the family, and I think you are too. So,
I think you need to come with me.
I think she needs to come with me. I think we have some questions.
No.
I think if you come with us and you see the moss, I think I'll be able to explain this much better than if I just try to use words. Because I'm part of the universe, and this is how we become connected to each other. This is how we can be each other. But not really, but sort of. But we can all be together.
I understand.
With this.
I understand. You could be the answer. You can be the answer of this. The most being... We could be somebody here. We could...
Yeah. Yes.
You need to... Jasper's gonna grab your...
Kind of just weakly hold up some handcuffs, but I don't know what to do with this situation.
Yeah, I think Jasper kind of see this happening, and he's just gonna grab your character's hand. I don't know if she said her name. Her name?
I don't know if I did, but I picked Lorelka out of my massive name spreadsheet.
Perfect. Okay. And he's just gonna, like, hold her arm and be like, we should run. We can.
Okay.
Let's go. And he's gonna start running into the forest where the moss is starting to spread.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull out a walkie-talkie. This is border security. We might have a situation. I really don't know. Yeah, they went they went off in Umbran territory. Good. Okay. Yeah, I'll just stay at my post and okay. Click.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen thanks to this. Everything will be great.
So I guess the answer to the question is Tetra responded with hostility and Umbra joined the hive mind. Great.
Incredible.
God.
Okay. I believe that makes it my turn.
Indeed.
So, originally I was going to make a really cool light rail system for Tetra, because everybody needs trains.
Mm-hmm.
But then Pax just delivered a golden opportunity straight into my lap.
I live to serve.
So I am going to make something. So right after the event, the Splendor Soleil invents maintenance mechs, mastics, for outer space repairs of the ship. I'm going to add a new event.
Uh-oh.
Which is, the, Tetra captures and reproduces a maintenance mech, ushering in a new era of warfare.
Great!
You were so specific that they aren't war mechs. And I was just sitting there like, I can I can change that.
You can make them more mechs.
I can ruin that.
It's what I wanted, really.
And that is a nice dark event, just in time for their attack on the UCR.
Yay. We love it when a plan comes together.
Okay. Final turn. Or not final turn, but final non-lens turn is Maiden.
Hi.
Hello.
I am going to add an event. My event would be after the planets of the galaxy negotiate interplanetary travel, and it is the Chakirg Republic sets up an embassy on the Splendor Soli, and through that embassy establishes the sabbatical system, which is the process of disguised Chakirg traveling to other planets to steal biological data and information from the evolved species there.
That's gotta be a hell of a surprise, right?
But this is a light event.
Going to the robot planet to steal biological information. What the fuck?
Oh no, it's mainly they're setting up an outbase on the Splendor Soli because, like, the Splendor Soli actually has spacecraft that are capable of interplanetary travel.
I see.
The Chakirg and their space station absolutely do not, and do not have docking ports made for, like, mechanical vessels. It is very much, we are setting up an outbase in the closest space station specifically so we can, like, sneak aboard their ships and use their transportation.
Yeah. I like that one. That one's fun.
God, I wonder why my military hellscape built on paranoia and backstabbing suddenly got so afraid of their brains being controlled by worms in their ear. The effects are caused.
This is just like Animorphs.
Yeah. Yeah. That is also one that would probably be a cool scene if you're up for it.
I suppose that could be a scene. Because there would have to be some sort of discussion between the Chakirg and the Splendor Soli of, like, we would like to put a large dead animal in your spaceship. That is what a building is. Well, no, it wouldn't be dead.
Even just seeing, like, a Chakirg citizen, like, integrating themselves into the Splendor Soli. Because remember, there's also dictated scenes, which is you just say what happens.
Yeah. I think both of those would be interesting. I think the Chakirg originally coming to the Splendor Soli and asking for permission to build this, like...
I'd love to see that.
To build this place, or yeah, just, like, a random citizen on the eve of their sabbatical, like, talking with anyone on the Splendor Soli would also be interesting. I could do either of those. I'm not picky. No, I think the asking for permission would be much more interesting.
Okay.
I think the question is, how does the Splendor Soli respond to this incursion of biological life? And they've had a non-aggression treaty for a while, but a lot of that was mainly just, you don't come down to the planet, we won't come onto your space station, and now they are coming onto the space station.
Yeah.
They probably haven't had much formal contact outside of, like, long-distance missives.
How did they get them to agree to this?
Yeah. So then I think the scene is... Let me go to my... the senior Chakirg bureaucrat, Hoset... How do I pronounce this? Hoxet Savra boards the Splendor Soli with a planning committee to ask permission to establish a life form here. Is, I think, the scene.
And who from the Splendor Soli is present?
I think that would be up to Pax.
If
I
this
think
is-
definitely some sort of leadership would want to be present, but...
Yeah, I mean, probably one of the three, people running the station is probably there. I'm trying to think. I wrote down their names somewhere, and I'm like, where did I put that? How about for this one? Let's do Pyrite is there, who is one of the three older robots that run the ship.
Okay. Do you think we need any other characters in this scene? I don't think so.
No, I think
Be
this is
simple.
something. I think especially with the Splendor Soli, there will be no one else that is interested in hearing what these people have to say. It's very much the three leaders lead the ship, and no one's really privy to their decisions. So it's very much like they decide what's best for us, and we don't even read a newspaper, you know? So
Yeah.
I think it's literally just him.
So I think to set the scene, Hoxet Savra has probably just landed in their docking bay in some strange, half-rotting, amphibious-looking craft, and has changed into a more humanoid form.
Mm-hmm.
Most, especially ambassadors, will have a more humanoid-looking form for diplomatic purposes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier to try and establish diplomatic relationships with someone if you look a little like them.
Yeah.
So I think Hoxet Savra is just standing there waiting for someone who's in charge to arrive.
What are they thinking?
Yeah, what are they thinking?
I think most of it is just they're thinking, hopefully we can achieve this peacefully, but... And there's kind of that unspoken but where she's not even fully thinking it, but there is absolutely the idea of, like, if you don't agree peacefully, we will just declare war on you.
Yeah.
This is very much a diplomat who thinks she's going to get her way one way or the other.
For sure, for sure. And I think kind of like the person who kind of comes to meet you kind of looks like probably like a man in his 30s, so still pretty young, but with like maybe some like salt and pepper kind of like tones to his hair. And you kind of have like this feeling of like, why would like an artificial life even be bothered with trying to look a little bit more aged? This is Pyrite. He is the kind of leader of the leaders of the ship, and he is in his head kind of thinking like, who are these people kidding? Peaceful, my ass. There is this like kind of like knowledge that if something goes wrong here, possibly their entire way of life could be in danger. They're only one little ship next to one of the biggest fucking things they've ever seen in their entire life, you know? And also,
yeah,
gross.
in terms of scale, the Chkurg superorganism is probably quite a bit bigger than the Splendor Soli, and they also have the entire planet.
Yeah, no, exactly. And also, I think there's like this kind of, I think for an entirely mechanical population, the idea of having like a flesh and blood thing is kind of still really off-putting to them. So,
Yeah.
like, a ship is not great. Nothing is great. Kind of crinkling your nose at this, you know.
I will say, too, this early in the history, I think the diplomatic forms are very rough. Like, the form this person is in it is humanoid, but it is way beyond Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Like, instead of having feet, the legs are just points that settle on the ground. It probably only has, like, 2 fingers and a thumb per hand.
That's interesting.
Like, it is following the basic humanoid body type, but a lot of the details aren't right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It probably has one eye, like, slightly higher and further back than the other to get, like, the same kind of, like, really good vision tracking that owls get.
Yeah.
Where it is, like, they designed this primarily thinking, like, how can we improve the function of a humanoid body without thinking, like, does this actually look like, quote-unquote, a human person or a humanoid person?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get what you're saying. Ooh. I think when, like, Pyrite comes to greet everybody, like, he like, kind of, like, seems like he's going in for the handshake, and then is just kind of, like, puts the hand back into, like, his suit pockets, and then is just kind of like, greetings! What brings you here?
Greetings, mechanical life form. I am Senior Minister of Ambassadors, Hoxet Savra.
Hi, my name's Pyrite. I prefer if you called me that rather than mechanical life form. It's quite rude.
Noted. Greetings, Pyrite.
Greetings. What brings you to our quarter of space?
We seek to establish an embassy on your ship.
Mm-hmm. An embassy, and what sort of function does an embassy have for you?
Diplomatic relations.
With us?
With you and with the rest of the galaxy, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool.
The embassy life form would, of course, be completely cared for by us.
Life form.
Yes.
How does that work?
And the humanoid form kind of gestures behind them to this weird fish-like thing that is, like, probably gasping for air weirdly because it was built to exist in a low-oxygen area and is now in a very oxygenated airlock.
Oh, God.
And gestures to it and is like, we have brought a large supply of genetic material and host stem cells with us. If you will show us a proper area, we will have an embassy grown within the week. After that, it should prove mostly self-sufficient.
You can't work in a building. Maybe an office. We don't have a lot of space here.
If you provide us a building or an office, that will be sufficient space to grow an embassy, yes.
And if we want to talk to you, do we talk to the thing? Embassy? Sorry.
The embassy is not... It is not a host designed to be used. It is a host designed as an object. Perhaps for your conception, it would be better if you thought of it as one.
It's making breathing sounds.
That ship is not an embassy.
It's this kind of, like, moment where, like, Pyrite is, like, kind of, like, hand over mouth thinking really hard about this. Like, what the fuck am I going to do? How do I explain this to everybody? And you can kind of, like, I think with Pyrite especially, he's quite an older model. So this is a model that you can actually hear blinking, in that he doesn't sound like a human blinking. He literally makes, like, a mechanical shutter sound when he blinks.
Cute.
It's very moe of him, to be honest.
Oh my god.
Listen, anyway. And he takes like a good 5 minutes, and then it's just like, I'm just processing this. How long will you be staying here?
Indefinitely.
And you know you have to follow our rules, right? You don't get immunity.
While on your station, we will abide by your rules. While within our embassy, we will remain bound to our rules. As the embassy is merely an extension of our planet. Is this agreeable?
What does that mean? What rules are you thinking of? I know you're thinking of something in that big brain of yours.
At this point, I think the host form reaches up to its mouth and, pulls it open.
Oh my god.
And the little parasite inside kind of does a little circle where the tongue should be before folding the head back over itself. My brain is not that large.
But it's doing an awful lot of thinking. Pyrite is just Pyrite is having the worst day of his life right now.
I'm so glad we're doing this.
This is horrible. He's learning so many things.
While on your ground, we will abide by your rules. While on our ground, we will abide by our rules, and you will do the same for us. Is this not an agreeable compromise?
Alright. No killing. No killing. No killing anyone. Agreed. No killing.
Do we just leave it on that very long, ominous silence?
Yeah.
Yes, I think there's this long, ominous silence of Hoxet Savra looking at Pyrite, and you can tell that it's thinking something. And you really wish you don't ever find out what it is.
I gotta fucking kill this guy.
That was a hell of a scene. Yeah, I think that was also the first time we got any Chkurg on screen, and boy oh
I want
boy.
more of them.
That was great. No notes.
I'm obsessed
They're not
with them.
all like that, but definitely a lot of the higher-ups do have this very affected space fantasy emotionless race thing going on.
Perfect.
I do also want to say that Pyrite is one of the more quote-unquote, technically human of the leadership. He is definitely, the face of the leadership, so nice little contrast.
I'm still putting that down as a light event.
Sure!
You can't
Sure.
prove there's anything dark happening.
That is
It's
true.
literally said in the book, anything can be a light or a dark event. It just depends who you ask.
Yeah.
I'm writing
Yeah.
this from the perspective of the Chkurg. This is a great thing.
Yeah. Oh my god.
They're going to get so much biological data.
Oh my
They're
god.
They're so happy. Look at them. It's perfect.
Happy little clams.
Anyway, that's my turn.
Great. Well,
It was
Mariana,
perfect. No notes.
you
Oh
have
my.
another turn.
I do have another
You get
turn.
to round us out.
Okay, well, somebody has to do trains. And since you didn't do it, I'm gonna do it.
No, I
I'm
did
making
Max.
trains. I wanted to be in the period when Awesome close basically their planet, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be around that period. Probably after the no Chukar are relocated. Okay, the Republic of Umbra is gonna start their project to create a railroad that not only connect their whole nation, but also they're gonna have one specific a station that will connect Umbra with Tetra in a way to promote peace. We can call it peace. We can also call it a little bit of publicity. And when I mean a little, I mean a lot of publicity. Because after the awesome closes, is the moment when Umbra decide to open their doors to all these people that doesn't have a home anymore. With the only condition that they have to, become part of the nation. Details. Light. I decide that we need to put some light in this very dark period of time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the last step is to create a legacy.
Moss. It's a moss. The legacy of the moss.
Mysterious moss.
Basically, yeah, it changed the whole, Republic
It
of
changed
Umbra.
a lot.
It basically changed my whole nation. So I feel and created new unified two nations. So kind of important, I believe.
Okay. So that's your turn. Congratulations.
Whew.
Let's jump right into the next focus then. Pax, would you mind being the lens?
Sure. I think we all agree there has been very little war in this war.
That's not on me.
It's not
I have
on
bombed
you.
the shit out of everybody.
No, this is so true. You have been doing all the war, and we have been sitting here twiddling our thumbs a little bit. I'm wondering if, saying conflicts both, hot and cold makes sense. So, informational conflicts versus, armed battles, I guess, as a focus makes sense.
Sure.
Cool. Conflict.
Actually, can you narrow it just a little bit? Because theoretically, anything is
Armed
conflict.
conflicts.
Alright, let's fucking go.
And here's the immediate problem. Do I have an idea for that? Oh. I think we haven't focused enough on the mechs, to be honest.
Hell yeah.
How about this? I think just before the edict, the family issues and edict and gratitude for the universe's gracious divisions, I think I'm going to add an event. I'm going to say a dark event because of what it is, which is an accident with a mastic shoots down a family ship outside Splendor Solis airspace, or space? What is the space around a spaceship? I actually have no idea.
Airspace?
Yeah.
Galactic space?
Yeah. Universal space? I don't know. So, an accident
get
with
to
a
name
mastic. Do I have, a nice term for it? I'm gonna quickly look something up.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. So an incident or an accident with a mastic shoots down a family ship outside of Splendor Solis neutral zone. Good that you step in there, because I would probably call it a parhelion or something.
Dude, parhelion is kind of sick.
Sure, we can do parhelion. That's fine.
I want the word.
There we go. I'll add that. So that is just before the edict. Yeah. That's my event.
Do we know whose mastic it was?
Oh yeah, the Splendor Solis, for sure. Or do you mean more specifically who on the ship?
No, I just wasn't sure, because you talked about Umbra for a minute, and
Yeah.
Tetra is also doing their horrific nonsense.
I think that the Splendor Soli hasn't had enough blood on their hands yet, and I would like to rectify that.
Fair. I love it. Right.
I don't want to nest a scene this time around. I will think on it, and then we'll go at the end again.
Molly, it's your turn.
Well, I want to do a scene in there that is, I want to do the family ship that gets shot down right, like, as the ship is, I want to do a scene that is the ship and everyone on it dying.
Oh my god.
Jesus. Are we playing this out, or is this a dictated scene?
Do folks want to play it out, or... Because I'm willing to go either way, but I can do it as a dictated scene if that works better.
It's your call.
I'll do it as a dictated scene, then.
Fun.
All right. It is service day on the ship Fortitude, which is...
Oh, God.
They have a kind of a 10-day cycle is what they've adapted to in space. And service day is kind of the day when everyone starts with just kind of like personal meditation, and then your family kind of coming together, discussing the last week. Any conflicts that have happened in your family in the last week kind of get talked through and hopefully resolved. And then once that's all happened, you've got kind of family meditation time, and then it's time for the ship's service. And in the ship's service, everyone on the entire ship comes together to the central bay, which is where both it's got access to both kind of the computer system controlling the ship, the hydroponics section where everything on the ship that's growing gets grown, and a special kind of porthole that can, like, safely lets everyone look out into space. So you've got visuals on kind of the belly of the ship, what's growing, and they make sure to have something on each ship that is growing from the home planet at all times, to maintain that connection, and seeing out into the universe and what's kind of still to come. And everyone on the ship connects with each other, and the captain priest begins the service with a prayer that is kind of a moment of silence and community with everyone. And everyone begins to open their minds to each other and reach out to each other, and all reaching towards the captain, so through the captain they can connect to all the other ships. Charity, diligence, faith, hope, justice, and patience are the other ones. And so the ship Fortitude is all coming together, and the porthole opens up, and they can both see visually space outside of them, and they can see mentally, emotionally, their connection with the other ships going out and reaching together. And as that connection goes forward, something hits the porthole. Something crashes into it, going hundreds and hundreds of miles per hour, hundreds of thousands of miles per hour. And it rams into the porthole and cracks just immediately, spiderweb across it. And all the alarm systems start going off immediately, just screeching. Everyone's disoriented, like breaking away from each other. because it takes a lot of energy to come together like this, and it takes a lot of conscious, like, coming out of that space for folks to safely disconnect. So people are like wrenching apart psychically, and just like parts of their minds are maybe tangled up with everyone else still, and they're trying to get to their emergency places and go into lockdown protocols and everything, and the cracks just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and the porthole falls away, and all the other 6 ships, the other 6 congregations suddenly feel fortitude disappear. And they're also feeling that reverberation of all of those connections getting cut off all at once. And then they get Charity, the flagship, gets a message that just reads, "Apologies, mastic error. Is everything all right? SS." And that's how they find out that what happened was a mastic crashed into the ship, went out of control, and everyone died.
Jesus.
Wow.
All right.
Incredible.
I'm gonna classify that as a dark scene.
I think so.
I
You know
think
what?
so.
It's my turn. Oh man. I got nothing, but I really want to do an assassination.
Do it.
Ooh.
Do
I've done-
anything.
I have done All Out War, the other 2 that were about building things and alliances. So maybe
An assassination for an alliance.
Okay.
I do have an idea, and I don't know if me saying, like, maybe setting an event and you can do a scene, if that opens the opportunities.
I'm just gonna look through the timeline for a minute and see if anything jumps out at me. Because I just want to. I think I just want to kill a shitty noble.
Hell yeah.
I think that would feel good. I hate everybody in my faction so much. I hope all of them die.
No.
Staring at my PC like you're on thin fucking ice. So, something that I have not gotten to talk about much, but is sure a thing in my faction, is killing nobles is actually fine and allowed as long as you succeed. Like, failed assassinations are still very illegal, but successful assassinations are just a sign that you were better suited to their job than them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about the king that we saw back in the first session, who signed that treaty with Umbra. And I think I was gonna say that I think I was gonna see him kill someone to get the throne, but no. Everybody fucking hates that guy. We had a whole scene of him getting just raked over the coals in the press. And, like, he didn't really seem like that good of a leader. Maybe he just didn't have many siblings and he kind of won by default. The sibling that was supposed to be king, like, fell off a bridge or something. Who knows?
He sleep on the bathroom.
Like, just, like, he was never supposed to be king. He became king. He was bad at it. And that's how you get peasant uprisings. That's kind of the check and balance of Tetran society, is, if the nobles are bad at their jobs, we kill them. And that's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's allowed. So... Oh god, what was his fucking name? Balthador. I think that's the name of a Neopet.
Oh my god.
Alright, so I'm going to create a light event right underneath for the first time since the schism, Tetra and Umbra sign a peace treaty, and it is King General Balthador is
defenestrated.
waiting for the train to pass.
Run over by a train.
Run over by a train. You know what? Yeah. King General Balthador is assassinated by his bodyguard when he is pushed in front of a train.
Oh my god.
Maybe that's why we don't have a high-speed rail.
Makes sense.
Might give the peasants ideas.
This does make the fact that Umbra made a single rail line that goes to Tetra later on even funnier, though.
Right, like, that's such a jab. We have a national train trauma.
These peasants have incredible senses of humor.
Loving the concept, too, that traumatized the nation to the point that they just decided that trains were illegal. Not illegal,
Okay,
but they were like, oh, I don't want to.
Listen, but the noble class literally lives their entire lives knowing that at any point they might be murdered, and history will venerate their murderer as correct. So, if the king gets killed very publicly by train, don't you think the nobles might be like, no more of those, no more trains. So it makes sense. I'm gonna also just do a quick little dictated scene, you know, for spice. And the question I'm asking is, how do the people learn of the king's death? The scene is just been a new railroad line constructed between two of the major city-states in Tetra. And as is customary, the royal family is here to do a ribbon-cutting ceremony. The idea is they basically put the ribbon across the train line, and the train does the ribbon cutting.
Oh my god.
So, you know, it's all very pomp and circumstance, but the king gives a speech, talks about unity, and of course this is televised because I can't resist my little media focus on violence. So King Balthador stands up to the podium. My good people, this is a time for unity. This is a time for strength. We're at peace for the first time in a long... And he just gets cut off as his longtime bodyguard, Malthusian, shoves him onto the tracks just in time for the train to roll by. There is no time for the train to stop. It is nasty. It is bad. And it is all caught completely on camera. Malthusian their hands shake, their face is white, and for a moment you see them just... I did it. I did it. And it's almost like in real time watching a person realize that the eyes of not only their entire nation but of history is upon them. They straighten up, take their place behind the podium. We all know this isn't a time of unity. We surrendered. You know what? I'm gonna let the train noise be in for once. It's diegetic. The train's still going. We don't surrender. We don't accept. We don't let down our hair and accept defeat. I know, I hear how people talk. I hear what he was deaf to. Why should we accept a weak king? No more. I am your monarch now. I have protected King Balthador's life for the past 15 years with my own, and I see now that he wasn't worthy. I promise that I will be worthy of his life now. Thank you. And there's just, like... There were a bunch of people that came out to watch because they thought they were going to see a cool new train, and they just saw a political assassination, so I think everybody's a little shell-shocked. But one person starts, like hesitantly clapping.
Oh my god.
Cheers. This is what it means to accept the ruling of a nobility. When they don't do their job, we step up and we change it. Hell yeah.
I was so strong not to make a joke that immediately when he's coming down, he just fall down and just hit his head and die. That could make it so funny.
Also falls. He falls in front of the next train.
So funny.
Yeah, they try and do it again, and the next highest bodyguard assassinates him too.
Exactly. Oh, Jesus! I was so strong not to say anything. I was like, "This is very good." But can you imagine the funniest move that we could make right now? Oh,
You know,
great.
I'm not gonna do that scene, but I do think that in the history of Tetra that has absolutely happened. There's just been a very funny, like, domino effect of murder that goes on for a couple, like, weeks to months until things calm down.
It's
Absolutely.
like, you know when they finally got that boat out of the Suez Canal, and then people were like, well, the next driver has the funniest, the opportunity to be the funniest man in the world right now.
Oh my god. Do you remember when the boat got unstuck and everybody was upset?
Yeah.
Did you know that
funny.
two ships crashed into each other in the Suez Canal, like, yesterday?
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
That
Lots
is
of things
funny.
happening in that canal.
But real.
Incredible. Do you think the two ships that crashed into each other
Yes.
were exploring each other's
Yes.
bodies?
Yes,
Yeah.
No.
absolutely.
Of course you wouldn't, homophobe.
This is Yuri to me.
I
You
think
know what?
every
you
time
also
a ship
think...
goes into a canal, I think that's Yuri.
I see.
Fair enough. I
Do you-
understand.
Do you guys think in, like, Tetra, when they christen a ship, everybody has, like, a brief flash of the king they threw in front of the train?
I mean, people definitely make memes about it. Like, a lot of memes.
I feel like the people in Tetra just live in absolute fear that anything can
See,
kill you.
I mean, no.
The royals.
That's what it
Not
is.
the people.
Royals
The
do.
royals
The
live in
nobles.
fear.
The nobles just look at this like the normal people just look at the nobles living in this insane like battle royale hellscape, and they're just like, all right, I'm not. That's not my business. Good luck with that. I got a life to live.
The world is beautiful.
Yeah. And meanwhile, the nobles think it's just, like, completely normal. I hate them. hate them so much. Somebody else's turn. Maiden.
Okay. Well, since we're focusing on Tetra and Umbra, I'm gonna add something after Tetra attacks the Chikurg.
Hell yeah.
I am going to add an event that a lone Chikurg on sabbatical launches a biological attack on the Tetran Palace, wiping out most of the monarchy.
What the?
Oh god.
This
What
also
the
does
hell?
make that Chikurg technically, like,
Oh
three-quarters of the
that,
government until someone actually gets around to killing them.
That does mean that you are... Yeah. What... God, what do they do?
And to
That
make
is
it
so
even
funny.
funnier, I know exactly who this is gonna be.
Oh no.
This is the, as of current, like, after microscope time, one of the higher-ranking government ministers in the Chikurg Republic. It is Vic Kidder.
Is that your PC? Victor.
No.
Okay.
That's my PC's older brother, but I mean, it's brother in terms that, like, they are born in batches of 600.
Oh.
Yeah.
So brother does not imply... It is a Homestuck Trolls-ass sibling.
No. Man, I need to know how that happened. What did they do? I guess they gotta kill a bug. Nature is amazing. I mean, I can't decide what actually happened because I don't have another turn, but I think what probably happened is they just, like, dole out jobs to all the people that aided in the assassination of...
I think the fun thing could be in our actual game for you to bring it out somehow.
It's just a noodle incident.
The bug incident.
Yeah,
The
you
bug
have
in-
to
you
be
have
in
the
the
moss
history
incident. I
books.
have the bug incident. This is wild. Thank you.
She bug on my Tetra until I am 1/3 of the entire
Please.
government.
Please, you can't do this. She tea on my Kurg.
They consonant on my vowels until I am a bug mecha.
Okay, there's my very long event. So, event.
Yeah.
Vic Kidder, a lone Chikurg on sabbatical near the Tetran Palace, unleashes an experimental biological attack that causes most of the Tetran royal family to painfully melt before fleeing back to Auzum.
Oh my god.
He then receives a promotion to Minister of Acquisitions and is placed in charge of the sabbatical program, turning it into a series of undercover terrorist cells.
Slay!
Nice.
This is full-on, like, end of Indiana Jones, like, their faces are melting and they're bleeding all over the palace floors.
They deserve it.
That also means that because I'm having him flee back to Auzum before they can persecute him, that does mean that he still technically holds most of those titles. They just kind of had to go like, okay, we're not counting that one, guys. We'll just promote people normally just this once. Either that, or they just never promoted anyone new to those positions and just made up a whole bunch of new positions that were the same as those.
I mean, what they probably did was they pretended it was a disease.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it was just natural causes.
The face completely
I
melts
guess
out.
in a
Oh.
way.
Yeah, I guess in a way.
Yeah, no, the propaganda machine absolutely has not let the good people of Tetra know that technically a bug is their king.
Technically, a bug is their king and queen and heir and, like, war minister and finance minister.
And, you know, the baron of,
Oh,
like,
that's so funny.
17 different city-states It was a plague, guys. I promise. It was a plague. It was the face melt plague.
This
It was
Nobody
very-
looked at the bodies.
It was
just a
very
plague.
localized.
this silly little bug just got 38 different promotions with this one weird trick.
Oh my god.
And it's just a big picture of an Ebola virus.
Oh.
Just watch this
Centipedes
book with all the
in my
medals
government?
and a little crow. I love this book.
Oh, this bug is.
Thank you, bug.
This bug is doing good work.
It's also...
It truly.
Tetra doesn't acknowledge us, but Ausum does, because Ausum
Oh, yeah.
promotes this guy.
I mean, Ausum. This bug has a legitimate claim to the throne of Tetra, and we're just gonna pretend it doesn't happen. But that doesn't stop them from claiming it's a Chikerd colony or something.
I mean, the internal view already is absolutely that.
Every faction we've created is hell.
This is so funny.
Mariana, it's your turn.
I can never top that. That was great. But I do have an idea.
That was one of the two ideas I had.
Perfect, no notes. Okay, let's see. Let's do some war, I guess.
Hell yeah.
I am doing an event, and it's gonna be on the last period, and it will be before the Tetran Palace is burned. I'm guessing every 1 to 2 years, any of the higher powers of Tetra or Umbra go to each other's, while they're in peace, go to each other's nations to have this, the annual thing of being I guess we haven't killed each other. Good for us. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go.
It's a peace summit.
Classic peace. Exactly.
Take pictures.
What you could expect.
Shaking hands.
Yeah. Awkward smile. They all look bad on these pictures. None of them seem happy to be there. It becomes a whole thing. It's funny. It's awful. It's everything at the same time. The pictures run around for 6 months. The whole thing.
Mhm.
So this is what happened. When the president of the Republic of Umbra is coming back on the train, which I have called the Harmony train,
Great.
he is murdered. And not only murder, the whole train just go up to flames. An explosion.
This
Has
is-
taken everything we need.
This is why you can't trust a train.
That's why you cannot trust a train. But we didn't knew this until now. Sadly, all the clues really point out that the nation of Tetra was the one to blame, causing that, the sad news that the Republic of Umbra have decided to initiate war with Tetra. Now, this is my little scene that I wanted just to make a little summary. I'm not gonna act or anything because, just because.
Oh, but before you start the scene, is this in a light or a dark event?
Well, it really depends how you look at it.
How do you
But I'm
look at
gonna
it?
guess a dark event.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Now the scene. Let me set it up. The scene happens in the presidential house, in one of the inner rooms, and it's 3 days after the murder/explosion of the president. Now the question is, who really set the bombs? In this scene, we see a reporter talking in the background in one big TV, just in the middle of this room, where she is confirming, the reporter, the tragic news that the death of our dear president, Circon del Cristianos. And she's also giving thank you to our government for always being prepared for anything, since now the vice president, Antimonio del Soliago, have stepping up and have finally declared war against or neighborhood nation, something that we always knew was going to happen because, well, we can just not trust people in Tetra. We always knew they were planning something. We step aside from this TV and we see two men sitting in front of it. They're smiling and they're cheering because they did it. Not only they have become the new head of the Republic of Umbra, they have finally started the war they always wanted. And that's my scene. Thank you for coming. This is a light scene. You can call it like that.
All right. Is it the president?
Mm-hmm. The vice president, which is now the new president.
Just making sure that president is the name of your leadership. Okay, so scene is the recently promoted.
Which I hope it makes clear that this change of event, it may be the reason that the Tetra Palace is, burned down to the ground.
Yeah, we got our own problems.
Oh, more than your own problems. I am imagining this help to, like, the domino effect of, this happening. Because something that we did very well was to put the name of the queen to the ground. We just...
Oh, yeah.
Like, that woman.
Yeah.
It was all her fault.
She broke a piece that's been technically kind of a thing for ages.
Yep. It was her.
Yeah, fuck that woman.
Mm-hmm.
I bet she sucks.
I bet she sucks. Wherever she is. Dead. Of course.
Yeah.
Dead.
Thank you. Thank you, peasants that are now fighting over the queendom. All right. Pax, we're coming back around to you. You get one final scene to close this off.
Thinking. I had an idea for something, but I realized it doesn't fit into armed conflicts. I got it. I need to look something up quickly.
Google, give me a cool name for a robot.
Shut up! That's not what I'm doing.
Babynames.com, cool names for refrigerators.
A dark event under the last period, which is the Alliance's crumble, bringing conflict back into the stars. The Churkurg embassy on the Splendor Soli is attacked by a rogue family headed by Phosphorus. Very few Churkurg survive. Sorry.
No, go for it. I also do like the idea that the Churkurg probably have, like, all of these biological kill agents. They're like, oh yeah, we can release a deadly virus into the air. When a bunch of robots show up, they're like,
Shit.
Like, the idea that they think of themselves so highly that they were genuinely, like, not considering the people of the Splendor Soli as threats, and that it comes back to, like, bite them in the ass is good.
Yeah, and I also like the idea that in our scene, it was the leader being like, haha, please no killing, please don't kill anyone, and then it's the people within the Splendor Soli that kind of start this conflict.
Like, as much as that embassy was the base of the sabbatical system, which probably was responsible for quite a few additional, like, terrorist attacks on Umbra and Tetra and the family, they would have never attacked Splendor Soli directly. So it would have been like, well, we didn't attack you, we attacked everyone else but you.
The history of the Churkurg Republic is people going, you're so creepy, I have to kill you now.
Makes sense.
I'm not touching you, I'm not touching you. We did it, everybody.
Alright, so that was your scene?
Yes. Event, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have one more job as the lens.
Yeah.
Which is you need to create a legacy.
Oh boy.
What is our
That's like a
legacy?
General theme, right?
Trains are dangerous. That's
what we learned.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a legacy is a common thread that may stretch throughout history. Something from this turn that, like, will continue to impact history.
I want to say leadership is very rarely stagnant, but that feels maybe a little too broad. It would be funny if it was just high-speed transportation can be very dangerous.
I mean, I think leadership is rarely stagnant is a good one, but this is your turn and you can make it whatever you want.
Can't we do 2 because it's the last turn?
You know what? Sure.
Okay.
So it's leadership is rarely stagnant and trains are dangerous.
High-speed transport is not to be trusted. High-speed transport is the silent killer in this galaxy.
It's the one that started wars.
All right. So I realized that we've been doing this wrong the whole time. At the end of each turn, we were supposed to explore a legacy by creating an event or a dictated scene that relates to one of the legacies.
The mastic that crashed into Fortitude was actually experimenting with trains.
This is exactly what I was going to go for just now.
Oh
I
my
did
God.
not want to say anything.
Do you just... So the way that I would like to handle this
Unauthorized
is,
trains event.
I think we should just all... There's 4 legacies. There's 5 of us. I think we should just all, like, do a scene, like, do one now. Each person gets to do one legacy. I can sit out, or if somebody else wants to sit out, that's fine. Pax,
Yes.
I was gonna start with the people that didn't get the chance to be a lens, but it sounds like you might want to do a fuck trains kind of scene.
I was joking a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to you. So feel free.
Maybe we don't need to commit quite so hard to the bit. Maybe that one doesn't need a scene. But
No.
Molly or Maiden, would either of you like to explore one of the legacies?
I want to poke at the mysterious moss because
Do
that's
it.
also important to the family.
Moss heart emoji.
So the scene is on each of the ships. At this point, all 7 of the ships, they all have basically a greenhouse, kind of a hydroponics lab, but they try to set it up like a greenhouse with, like, it's all artificial light, but trying to mimic natural light from their home planet, which is Earth, but they kind of have forgotten that it's Earth. And part of the spiritual importance of the hydroponics lab is that there is always at least 1 or 2 plants from Earth that they've kept alive throughout their entire time in space. It's the same plant, and they'll, in order to keep it healthy, they'll exchange cuttings between ships. They'll try to make sure that everything that they kind of bring on and start growing new is suited for the same type of climate as this plant. And the plant is blue moss. The main time that anyone is kind of exposed to the blue moss is when they're going to services, because the hydroponics lab gets opened up to the rest of the ship during services, and the moss spores kind of go out into the ship, and people are breathing it in as they're connecting with each other and connecting to the other ships. So, every time someone from another planet converts and joins the family, they spend the night sitting in the lab, sitting next to the blue moss, and meditating. And biologically what happens is they get infected with the moss, and now they are part of the hive mind. But it's for members of the family, it's a very kind of meaningful experience. It does genuinely open them up to a bigger sense of the universe than they had before. And so this scene is Ferrum converting to the family and spending the night in the lab.
Oh, that's good.
Hee hee.
Okay.
And I don't see notes on which ship Faramine was in. If it doesn't contradict what I said in earlier episodes, this is going to happen on the ship Hope. And Pax, can I ask you to play Ferrum?
Yeah.
And I will play the captain of the ship, and I'm going to just escort you to the hydroponics lab, and then if you can take it from there.
Cool.
So the question of this scene is, what does Ferrum, a robot citizen of Splendor Soleil, experience while exposing themselves to the blue moss?
Mm-hmm. Have fun.
The captain of Hope is Captain Inogen. And so her kind of secret thoughts at this point are, she's so excited, she's so happy. Every time she brings someone in to the ship and to the family, it makes everyone stronger. It makes everyone more connected to bring more people in. And she's so excited to learn from Ferrum and connect with them, and she's so excited to bring them in and have them learn from everyone else. And she is so curious what's going to happen, because Ferrum is a robot, and no one's ever tried this before. So she's excited both on like a pastoral, spiritual level, and also, this is such a fun experiment to try.
Oh boy, I can't wait to write about this in my journal.
Ship's log. We put a robot with the moss.
What happened will is so heartwarming.
So what does Ferrum see?
I think Ferrum's thoughts at the beginning of it are just kind of more, man, I hope I don't mess this up. I hope I don't act really, like, off-putting. You know, oh god, this is the worst kind of example to give. Ferrum doesn't want to accidentally take a sip of the bong water and get kicked out of the group. You know? He's never done anything like this before. He's quite nervous. He doesn't know exactly what he's going to do. And I think it's also his first time off of the Splendor Soleil. So it's a lot of, like, getting a bit overstimulated by, oh my god, things are built different. Where does this pipe go? Where does this story lead? How do I can I map out the ship? How long will it take me to do that? You know, that kind of thing. As for what he sees, I'll leave that to you.
Inogen leads him in to the hydroponics lab, and everyone who works there has been sent back to their home base, back to their quarters. So it's completely empty. And it's set up in a very traditional labyrinth path, so that you're kind of walking the labyrinth as you go closer to the moss.
Mm-hmm.
And Inogen is walking side by side with Ferrum and taking it at a very, very slow, deliberate pace. And just kind of pointing out, here's all the grains we're growing. Here's the string beans. Here's the other vegetables. Here's the algae on the fish tanks, etc. And just making their way through all of the different things that are dedicated to keeping life intact on this ship. And finally, they make their way past the last kind of shelf that makes up the dividing walls of the labyrinth, and Farum is in front of the moss habitat, which is... It's not a big tree if we're looking at, like, trees on planets, but for a tree on a spaceship, it's pretty tall. It's a little bit taller than Inogen, so it's maybe 6 feet.
Phew.
And it doesn't really have many leaves going on. It's mostly just there to be a space for the moss to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the base of the trunk, the first 2.5 feet is basically just covered in the moss. You can't even see the bark. And then going up the tree in fractal whirls and spirals is the rest of the moss, and it until it kind of dissipates in the branches, and you up at the branches there's barely any specks of blue. And Inogen walks Farum up to the front of the tree and says, "All right, this is where I leave you, and this is where I will come back to you.
Do I...
All you need to do is sit down
Okay.
and take a deep breath, and keep taking deep breaths.
Do I close my
And
eyes?
If once you feel, you'll know when you'll want to close your eyes.
You just...
Just kind of whatever is comfortable for you.
Yeah, I think as soon as, like, the captain says that, you just hear, like, the internal fans and Farum, like, worrying super loud. It's immediately
You can close your
stress.
eyes. You can close your eyes.
Okay, cool.
And once Farum sits down, Inogen puts her hands on his shoulders and says, "I will leave you here, but I will still be with you, and all of hope will be with you." And then Inogen walks back out the labyrinth and leaves Farum alone with the tree of moss.
I think it takes maybe longer than people expect for anything to happen. There's quite a while of sitting still and quote-unquote breathing. Then he opens his eyes, he kind of gives the moss a look, closes his eyes, looks a little closer, leans a little back, starts to think that this is a crock of shit, and he shouldn't have come here, and this was a bad idea. And then there's this moment where his fans, which have gone into overheating and kind of overdrive, stop completely. Like, it almost feels like they get stuck on something. And in that moment, he closes his eyes, and he doesn't see anything or have a hallucination or whatever. For the first time in Farum's life, there is a voice in his head. And then there are 2. And then there are 3. And he's feeling things that he has never ever felt in his life before. He knows what a birthday party is now. He knows what it's like to have a mother. There's a lifetime of experiences that flood through him in that singular moment. And when he opens his eyes again, it's been at least an hour. And suddenly, he's by himself again. There's no voice, there's nothing in there. But for that singular moment, he was connected to something, and he doesn't know exactly what it is, but he does know he needs to experience it again. And I think that's what I have for
Incredible.
that.
Yes.
Maiden, would you like to do a scene on either leadership is rarely stagnant or the question of robotic personhood?
I think I could do it on the question of robotic personhood, yeah.
I would definitely be interested to see that from the Chikur perspective, because I know they have a strong opinion.
Yeah, I would definitely, I think this would be right after or around, like, the establishment of the embassy. Do you think any of the robots would be curious enough about, like, what's going on with the embassy to, like, wander in and be like, hey, can I get, like, a job here? Can you, like, show me around?
Absolutely. If you want,
And
I
I
can
think that would
give
be
you a name.
that would be such an interesting scene. And I will add another scene to this, and the question is just... I guess the big question is just, what are relations like between the robots and the Chikur?
I think the person who kind of comes up to this embassy would be a younger brother by the name of Verdigris.
Okay.
And I think this is less of like someone who had like a deathly curiosity and really came across from the far end of the ship, and more the embassy moved in next door and he has been staring at it for like the past like couple months, and he's like, what on earth is going on there? And he figures it's better doing this than being stuck inside working on his brother's projects. So that is kind of who approaches this building.
Okay. So I will be, once again, taking the role of Hoxet Savra, who is the de facto minister of... Technically it would be the minister of embassy, or because they don't call her an ambassador like a normal person. I think the embassy has various crews who will stay there for short periods of time, but I think Hoxet is pretty much the only one who's there 24/7.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the other Chikur there will either go out on their own, like, stay there for a little bit and then go out on a sabbatical, or they'll, like, go back down to the planet. But Hoxet has been here since the embassy was installed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And she hates it here. She hates this stupid space station and these stupid robots, and she hates all of it. I think the embassy as an organism was her idea, and she very much overestimated how easy it would be to keep something alive here.
Uh-huh.
But it's like, this space station is full of robots. It is nominally habitable for organisms, but it is absolutely not designed with organisms in mind, I don't think.
No, probably not.
Like, it is not a, like, oh, you need a spacesuit inside here, but it is very much like the pH balance of some of the water is just a little off, and there's a couple, like, minor contaminants in the air that you'd only notice if you, like, lived there for a really long time.
Yeah.
But I think she very much was like, I'm gonna do so good, and it's gonna be so easy, and I'm gonna be back home, and I'm gonna be promoted out of this stupid position. And the reality is that it's messy, and it sucks, and she's stuck here, and she's miserable.
There's oil everywhere, and no one's cleaning it up.
There's oil everywhere, and everything is hard metal, and it's so hard to create a self-sustaining organism. Like, she's had 3 generations of bacterial feed mats die on her, and she's just so tired. So she sees this robot coming up, and is like, what now?
Yeah, and it's like, not only is it a robot, but it's like one of the like little chipper ones, which are just so much worse to deal with because you cannot break their spirit at first.
Yeah, the older ones kind of like, the older ones will kind of get the idea that she's not really gonna say anything and just kind of get the vibe and give up, but the young ones will just keep They don't know when to quit.
They keep poking their organism. Leave it alone. Stop touching it. Get off my lawn. With verdigris, I think there's unfortunately very little going up on that head. He asked his brother like some good advice to get an interview, and his brother was like, "Oh, don't wear a suit with oil on it." And he was like, how about I do a suit with some oil on the pants instead of everywhere else? And then his brother was like, good enough. So he's not even sure exactly what he's applying for. He just knows that these are the only things on the ship that are not his brother that he's interested in, and he's quite sure he can make a good impression. So this little guy just bounces over and is immediately struck by the idea of, hey, what's a door in this thing?
What the fuck is it?
Are you asking
What the fuck
me
is
that
a door
question?
and a creature?
Yeah, no, he's like standing outside of it, looking around, and he's like, I don't know how to approach this situation, actually.
The reality is that the front door of the embassy is probably as close to what counts as this thing's mouth. And the inner doors are all various sphincters. Unfortunately. I do have to use that word again, because that is what they are.
Much.
Oh. I think he kind of like looks at the mouth, kind of sees if there's like a doorbell. Is there somewhere I can knock? He probably stands outside there for like a good 10 minutes hoping someone will come out and he can like have like the awkward like, hey, I was just going in, haha, conversation.
No one will ever do this.
Exactly. So he takes like a deep breath and then slowly tries to open the mouth and climb in.
I think after about a second or two of him like trying to pull at the mouth, Hoxet comes out from inside and is like, please refrain from damaging the embassy.
Sorry, Captain. Hello, I'm Verdigris. Nice to meet you.
There's kind of an awkward pause before, like, I don't think it's that she doesn't realize he's looking for her name. I think it's that she hopes that if she doesn't say anything long enough, he'll just get on with it. And when he doesn't, there's just this very awkward silence where they're both just standing there.
Yeah.
And then she goes, Hoxet Savra, Minister of Embassy.
Do you have a title that I can call you? Minister?
My name is Hoxet Savra.
Okay, Hoxet Savra. I have to fill out a certain amount of work requirements to pass, and I thought it would be a good idea if I could maybe work for you guys.
There's another, like, silence there. And then she just replies with, all of our personnel posts are handled by fully competent engineers.
Okay, well, none of you ever leave the ship. I can do that. Like, deliveries, or, going to see Pyrite, or, I can clean. I'm pretty good at cleaning. My brother, says I'm the best cleaner in his workshop ever, and he's pretty gross, so...
She was clearly going to say people and then, like, thought better of it because she doesn't consider them to be people. Your kind Are you capable of interfacing with biological systems?
Speaking as a biological system? Probably.
You are not a biological system.
Uh-huh. Okay. Just because we use machines doesn't mean we're non-biological, but that's fine. I got an A in public speaking.
You are not a biological organism.
Why? Because you can't
Step closer to me.
control my... Okay. I don't know if I should do that.
And she grabs his arm and extends a claw from the arm of her, diplomacy form, and literally, peels back the metal of his arm and points to the servos underneath and just says, "You are not a person."
I think there's just a very long time of this poor guy staring at his arm, and it's like he doesn't recognize it. And he keeps, looking back at her, and then looking at it, and back at her. And it's like... he stumbles out of her grasp and falls down, and just doesn't get back up after that. It takes hours for his brother to find him.
Oof.
And he doesn't ever get back up.
Oh my god. That's terrifying.
I think she's asked to leave the ship.
Yeah, I think she does. I think there is definitely a diplomatic issue over that, where they're like, if she is going to go around telling this to people and, not have the tact, she can't work here.
Yeah.
So she does get relocated, but absolutely not to a better job. She is probably relocated to, physical work.
Oh.
Is that it?
I suppose, yeah, I guess so.
Alright.
And I suppose that's a dark scene.
Yeah, I'd say that.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be dark or light when we started. There were definitely several different ways that could have gone. But I think with how that turned out, it's hard to say that is anything other than dark.
Yeah, that fucked me up a little bit.
She ruined that guy's life. She just ended him.
Oh, yeah, no, he doesn't... He's probably got decommissioned and rebuilt by his brother.
Cool.
So, sorry, Verdigris. Sorry I did that to you, but,
Okay. So there's one legacy left. I will be doing a legacy scene exploring leadership is rarely stagnant. I've focused so much on Tetran assassinations, but it's such a natural place to go with this. I want to zoom in a little bit on the Tetran Palace being burned. Because that's a very, that's going to be something that's really on the forefront of both my characters' minds when we get to Kingdom. And the question I'm asking is, what is happening in the moment the blaze, what is the queen doing in the moment the blaze starts? And her name, I don't know if I've actually gotten this on screen, but her name is Nautilus Zirconium, because all Tetran names have to be really obnoxious.
Wild for you to apologize about your names being obnoxious in the same tabletop as my names.
True. You know what? I might as well get her full name on screen, which is actually even more obnoxious. It is Nautilus Zirconium, who holds the title Supreme Queen General of the glorious municipalities of Tetra, ever victorious, glory be to she.
Perfect.
So we see Zirconium in a nightgown at writing desk in her bedroom. She's looking at a CRT TV and just going back and forth over the train explosion that killed the Umbran president. Because she knows that they didn't do it. But she's also, like, fully willing to take credit for it, is the thing. But she still wants proof they didn't do it, you know, just in case the peasants get antsy. She tabs over to another window on her, or she looks over to another monitor. She's probably got a couple. She's drafting a declaration of war. She mumbles, she mutters to herself, if they want to end this peace, they can damn sure do it. Let's see what they've got. And here, glass break. A Molotov cocktail got thrown through her window. The curtains catch fire. She looks over to see what happened. And we cut. Man, is this dark or light? It's light. She sucks.
Absolutely.
All right. So this is our game of microscope. Hell yeah, look, we did it.
I'm so proud of everyone. We did it.
Woo! Me too. This was absolutely incredible for, like, understanding this really complicated and interesting political history. Like, we never could have come up with this in isolation.
No.
Absolutely.
And it wouldn't have been as fun either.
So, the next time we play, we will be moving into another game by Ben Robbins, Kingdom. We will take our focus off of this broad scale and bring it to a more intimate place. A space station full of people who have, in some way or another, been exiled from their homes. We will build a kingdom and watch it burn. Or not. We'll see if we all manage to get along. We have been the Storyplayers podcast. I am, once again, your host, but not your GM, Birdie. I have been joined by Maiden, Mariana, Pax, and Molly. Thank you so much for listening.
Too.
But think about it. The entire noble class lives their lives knowing that at any point they might be murdered, and history will treat it as correct.
I could make a very funny joke here, but you'd have to cut it out in post.
There's a train going by, so go ahead.
It'd be like after 9/11 if you just stopped building airplanes and skyscrapers. They're like, oh no, we can't have those anymore. That's what happens.
God.